So we just waiting for everything. Good rise, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I don't think you guys understand how much I believe in the next generation. I am going to be gone. And what you feel me? Like, when it comes to the young people, you have to have a predecessor. No, that's like the person before you. Who comes after you? A successor. That's what it is. What I said last week, I was trying to figure out a word. It was just like, I don't know what it was, but listen, so I am going to be here. But I am going to take myself out of the conversation because Julian, the intern, put together an interview. And so instead of holding his hand and making jump right in head first, I'm gonna let him do it. He gonna man the boards, set up all of the systems, play the commercials, everything. This is Julian's show today. And I'm just in the background. And so I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about making sure these babies have the stepping stones they need to move forward in life. You can't hog the mic all the time, boo. You can't hog the stage all the time. You got to move out the way and usher in a new generation. And so without any other further ado,
Hello, everyone. Very excited for today's interview. We're going to be talking to Drew Townsend of Intersect Magazine and Sony Music Entertainment. Let me bring in Drew. Hi, Drew. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So, for our viewers, Drew Townsend is an emerging entertainment and media executive who attends Loyola Marymount University. She is the founder and CEO of Intersect Magazine, the Los Angeles relations rep for Sony Music, and has interned at numerous companies. Thank you for coming. So, I mean, you're real dope. You're really, really dope. I kind of, I was like, oh, how are you doing this as a freshman? It's really cool. So,
Thank
what
you.
is Intersect Magazine, and why is it called Intersect Magazine?
Yeah, so Intersect Magazine is an online digital publication that specializes in all things music. So we have multiple different platforms that we're across that are all in the digital space. So an online magazine, which is basically blog style, where we have written interviews, music reviews, editorial content, news, all just about music business articles. And then we also are in the YouTube space. We have Intersect TV, which is like our YouTube channel. We do music reviews on there and video version interviews, different like little game segments. And our podcast is also on there. And then the last platform would also be other podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify podcasts, Amazon, Google, all of those different major platforms. So we basically just want to specialize in creating good media content that focuses on the actual music. We try to veer away from drama and entertainment teams, really focus on the music. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you for 2 seconds.
We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so
no problem.
No problem.
ask another question.
Okay. Well, my next question was, what sparked your interest into the music industry?
So, all high school and just elementary school, middle school, I played sports. So I kind of pulled away from my creative side mostly. And after I stopped volleyball, because I went back to everything that was my junior year of high school, I went to a music festival, and because of people that I know, I was kind of like in the background scene in like the artist area, and I just felt like I was in the right space. It was just something in my gut feeling, and I could see how a lot of people knew each other for different reasons, whether that be, oh, that's someone's manager, that's someone's A&R, that's someone's artist. Like, it just made me feel like I really wanted to be a part of it. So the next day I went home, I started Intersect, and I started writing reviews of everything music. And then as I grew up, I realized how much I wanted to be in music. Because of the work I did with Intersect, I was able to get into the Recording Academy's Grammy camp my summer before I started this past year. So summer before freshman year of college. And I did that on the music journalism track, and that was my first like real company experience in the industry.
What are some of the challenges that you face running a magazine and being a full-time student at the same time?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I realized was it wasn't really just the student. I think like really where it's like I can't put as much effort into the magazine is because of my job with me and the fact that I keep having internships. I think that's makes it like I can't spread myself that thin between 4 different things and do all of them at the best level. So basically what I did is I have about 4 unpaid interns at Intersect that are all college student age, and then I have 2 paid employees. And I actually, like, to be completely transparent, I'm not at the point where I have, flipped Intersect into a profitable company. I haven't gotten it and gotten that traffic for monetization, but I had to, put my own money into it right now to back it up so I can push it to that point, which is completely normal. So basically, I just noticed I had to, sacrifice that and add some more people to help me out. They're really just amazing. Shout out to Corey Nicole for running Intersect TV super well, to Maya for editor-in-chief, and to Julia, who is our managing editor.
So yeah, we support Black businesses in this house. So how can we support Intersect Magazine and turn it into a profitable magazine?
Yeah, so really the biggest thing is we've crossed ourselves over multiple platforms because that, the opportunity for more money. The biggest thing is we have to get a certain amount of traffic on the website intersectmagazine.com each month in order to be picked up by Google AdSense or other ad companies and just receive ad revenue placements. And then on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and then a lot of views. We have the view count. We've had videos that have done super well, but if you could subscribe to Intersect TV on YouTube, that would be amazing. So we're just trying to push those. And then listen to our podcast, download our podcast on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, and it'll eventually come through. I'm patient enough to know that, but thank you.
Yeah, so is there like a specific genre when it comes to Intersect that you cover on, or is it a broad range?
Intersect covers all different genres, but when I typically would do any content pieces, I guess I specialize more so in hip hop and R&B. Just because I'm writing a music review, which I still like to do, just even for fun sometimes, I just know that I can really write a good review if it's about hip hop and R&B, because that's like my most listened to genre. But I'm also into alternative music and some pop music, so sometimes I do a little bit of that. But yeah, I have writers that cover each thing that they kind of know that they're best at.
All right, that's dope. So if I was like a young, aspiring music journalist, what tips would you give to starting a review, or even like interviewing artists and all that?
I'd say you have to be really aggressive and have very thick skin because, entertainment media is a very like breaking industry, and like sometimes people are like, oh my god, you started so young, and it's only because I know that I don't have those connections that a lot of people, a lot of people have someone who's an uncle or a father mother, sister, who already works in entertainment and helps pull them through. That's like very, very, very common in the industry. But if you are, coming from the bottom and grinding yourself, you just have to have a certain amount of grit and just a certain amount of drive, because you're going to hear a lot of no's. A lot of artists are going to be like, what is this platform? Who are you? You're not big enough. But there has to be some artists who take a chance on you, because this is the thing. It's so ironic. Everyone goes like, okay, so what interviews have you done? Who have you interviewed? And then it's like, unless you have names to drop, then they won't do an interview with you. But if no one will do the interview with you, then whose name are you going to drop? So it's like, you just have to keep pushing, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of content. But I think it's totally worth it. And I totally would say that you have to know like what your goal is. So if it is to work for a bigger company and a publication, I'd say it does do you justice to start your own like blog, or even if you start an Instagram page and do like IG live content, or like write reviews under like posts, like have your own stuff, because that entrepreneurial mindset like translates very, very well into an industry, excuse me, that like requires a lot of grit. But yeah, I guess the biggest thing is just a lot of grit.
Yeah, thank you. So my next question is, you go to LMU obviously, and you work for Sony Music in Los Angeles. So why is it Los Angeles over other cities like Atlanta, Chicago, or New York?
Yeah, so Chicago, I'm from Chicago. I'm actually here right now. People expect it to be maybe a city with a lot of music. There's not. A lot of people who are in the music industry and are from here, it's a lot of like great people like that, but they left or are leaving. And no, that's not good. There should be people who end up staying and like putting more into the city. But like for me, I was ready to go anyway, just because I've been here for so long and I'm the type that likes to see other things. Like you said, I wanted to be somewhere where I could really dive into entertainment. So New York was definitely in question. Atlanta, I feel like I might end up there at some point in my career. I don't know if it was like my favorite fit. But yeah, I was choosing between like Fordham, which is in New York, and Pepperdine and LMU. And then, well, if people don't know, Pepperdine is in the suburb, I guess, Malibu of LA. But I ended up choosing LMU because I just felt, supported by the Black community there, even though it was still a white school. I'm sure you like get the vibe I'm talking about. And I also wanted a small school where I can like make a bigger effect. And so yeah, but I like really like the fact that I can grow Intersect there, this, that, and the other. And I just think that I really fit in there. I'm also sick of the fall weather, to be honest.
So who is like some of the dopest artists that you've been able to connect to through Intersect magazine or even Sony Music?
Yeah. I'd say, I really like that question. Chase the Money, he's a producer out of Atlanta. His producer tag is like Chase the Money, Chase the Money. Oh, it sounds so goofy. But he's worked with a lot of artists, Mulatto, Ballet, honestly, like a lot of people. And I'm actually like a fan of his music, and so that makes it cooler when interview someone and you like genuinely like and listen to their music. So definitely him, because that was just a dope vibe when I interviewed him. Memo from 600, he's signed to Lil Durk's label, OTF, and he's also out of Chicago, really close to where I live, and he's just like in that whole friend group with them, but he just was super genuine, showed a lot of love, and I hope the best for him and his career as well, because the best thing ever is when artists are nice and aren't on like weird stuff, because a lot of them just, end up being a little bit ruder, especially people who are like journalists and stuff like that. So it's really nice when people are welcoming and cool and not acting all Hollywood. I want to come up with one more person. Oh, actually, this alternative artist named Kennedy that I interviewed, and then I wrote it out in like a written interview. But she's not even a big artist. It was just my best interview because we connected on a certain level. Like it doesn't always have to be like, oh my God, like of course certain interviews are going to get more views because people care about who that person is, but sometimes it's not even my best interview. But that was just a wonderful interview because we were just connecting. It's like, oh, we found out 1111 had both of our angel numbers. It was just deep. Yeah.
Yeah, so now you're working for Sony Music U, which is awesome as a freshman. I mean, I applaud you for even getting that
Thank
position.
you.
you.
So how do you even get involved with Sony Music U? What was the story behind that?
So
So
when I
when I
started being
started
just the slightest bit
slightest bit
interested in music,
music,
I
I
was
was
researching what the
what
best
the best
situation was
situation
for
was for
college, and I
college, and I
found
found
out
out
the
that the
college
college
marketing
marketing
program.
programs that each of the three major music companies have. So Universal Music Group has 1824. Warner Music Group has Warner Music
U, and
U.
Sony Music
Sony
Group
Music
has
Group has
Sony
Sony
Music U.
Music U.
And
Um,
so
so
I
I
low-key
low-key
wanted Sony
wanted
Music
Sony
U
Music
just
U
because it's
just
the
'cause it's the
best
best
program out of the
program out of the
three,
three,
no
no
bias.
bias.
And
And
I actually, there was
actually
an
there was an
opening. I had it like
opening.
written on my whiteboard over there, like my whole senior year that I wanted to do it. It's like manifestation key. And then like August before,
First semester of this year, I saw there was an opening in LA. And then I saw there was also an opening for Warner. So I applied to both. And then I got Sony, which I'm very, very happy with.
and then recently I was promoted from the regular college marketing rep to the influencer relations rep. So I deal with like brand partnerships and influencer relations that will plug our artists.
Yeah, that's real dope. And I actually saw I don't know if it was an interview or a video on Sony Music U's Instagram. You said that Diddy was one of your biggest inspirations.
Mhm.
You know, Diddy is known for owning Bad Boy Records. So is a goal of yours is to have your own record company, or is that a goal for you?
So I go back and forth. I either want to be the CEO and chairwoman of a major record label, like how Sylvia Rome, the CEO and chairwoman of Epic Records, has done, or Ethiopia has done over at Motown now in the last few months. I would love to have that opportunity, but I never know. I'm very entrepreneurial, so it also might be my own label. I don't really know those vibes yet, but I definitely want to run a label. So I'm just trying to like learn the ins and outs of the industry, because in order to run a label, you have to put yourself in the position where like you know how the like how the industry works, even departments that aren't necessarily the coolest.
Right. So 2020 has brought this like huge push for diversity and diversity within the workplace. How do you feel that within the music industry, how do you feel that that representation is changing, whether that's on the business end or on the artist end? And then also, how do you feel like that's changing at Sony Music U, if you can speak to that as well?
Right, yeah. I'll start with on the executive end of the music business. I do see more Black women taking on higher positions, even if it's not CEO, chairman of the label. I think we've always been doing our thing in music, but the thing is that in order to be the Black woman CEO and chairman of a major record label, you have to have, oh my God, these women have like a business degree from Wharton, of this, of that, like work with all of these labels, and then maybe get it when they're like 50 years old. This is just like one example or something like that. And then
I don't want to generalize, but
then
then
like
right,
40 years old, and it's done half of what she's done, and then maybe that opportunity. So it's like we've always been there, we've always been pushing, we've always been making stuff happen, but it's like it's always that double standard. I think that's being noticed more. I don't think it's going away anytime soon, unfortunately. So what I say to Black women who want to be in the industry is play the game and work hard and give them no reason to say no to you. That means going to school more, go to school more. I'm gonna find every single way. I get it. It's like, oh, why me? But like, I'm never a white person anymore. So just like deal with it and keep pushing. You want to accomplish it. So yeah, but there's tons of Black women doing their thing on the executive side, like tons. Like I just named a list of a bunch of them. And then I'd also say on the music side, I mean, we've been doing our thing. Even if people didn't really realize that, everyone takes our culture and like what our Black female artists do. Only thing that I don't like is that Black female artists are always being pinned against each other. Which one do you like more, Mulatto or Cardi B or Megan, or do they have beef, or do they like that? So I'd say that there are a lot of people really just pushing right now too, which I love. I love seeing more than just like two people who are on people's radar. What else? What else? Sony Music U. Yes, we have a lot of Black reps, and I think that we are really doing our thing as well. I really say that the music industry, like, it is like a white male dominated place, like everything though. But I would say that like you see us. Like, of course you see more of them, but you see us, and I think you're gonna start seeing us more because as bad as it sounds, companies actually know that in order for their, as they call it, their urban department, which I don't like, to really run properly, they need to hire us in the first place. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really dope. So speaking to that, in what ways, if you can speak more to it, in what ways do you see music or even the music industry changing?
Yeah, so it's already gone through like a huge change in this past year. Even the biggest thing that you'll probably hear from literally everyone in the industry is TikTok, and how much that changed the industry and made it even more of a numbers game. There's labels who might not even really want to be like looking at a new artist to sign unless they already have some numbers on the board from TikTok and social media. But I think a lot of people are disappointed in this because a lot of music might not like this culture, but it's just so pushed because of TikTok. I think the other side of it is that it gives a lot of artists opportunity to make money and pave their way and get into the industry that's so hard to get into, even if they don't have maybe like some deeply artistic song. Something new that I'm starting to kind of back behind myself is that I like to explain to people that music is music, and music is supposed to make you feel different ways. It's not supposed to always just be like the deepest thing ever. There's no issue with songs that are more of like fun, goofy songs. So I'm trying to kind of like shift my mind into that. Like, people are like, oh, I hate TikTok songs. I hate this. I hate that. I don't like goofy music, for example. If it makes you laugh, it's doing what it's supposed to do too. It doesn't always have to be like a super deep Frank Ocean song, like a Solange album. So I don't have a problem with any way that the industry is going, but I do think it's just a lot more stuff put towards streaming numbers, and I think that that's definitely driving the industry. What I think will happen in the next few years, I think TikTok will stay around. Obviously, it will have its collapse, just like a lot of other platforms do. But I'm sure something else will come up at that point. I don't know what that is yet. I don't want to fake like I'm like that educated yet. But that's what's going on right now, pretty much.
Yeah. So speaking of TikTok, whenever like a huge artist, so for example, Megan Thee Stallion, she got really huge on TikTok because of Savage and oh my god, what's the other song? I'm blanking. But, so
honestly, most of our songs, yes.
So you know, I don't know how close you are to this, but whenever something blows up on TikTok, do you guys pay attention to that?
We do, but our job at Sony Music U is to push the artists into Sony. So that's the record labels like Epic Records, Columbia Records, RCA, Arista, Nashville, we're pushing them to the 18 to 24 market, so like college age and like a little bit over. And we mostly work with more so the emerging artists. We actually just did a campaign with like Lil TJ. So we'll get a little bit of like Lil TJ. We've done something with Mulatto, this, that, and the other. So we do like the bigger artists, Khalid, But recently we've been really pushing smaller artists in this digital space. And I think the biggest campaigns that we do with content creation is like us creating TikTok campaigns for smaller emerging artists signed to Sony. So we'll do like a video, like, you know, come up with an idea and like make a video for a certain song so that we can see if people jump onto that campaign and it becomes bigger. So we definitely utilize TikTok because we know that like it's big in our age range.
Yeah. So working as an intern in Sony Music U, what have you learned specifically like working within those spaces? about the music industry or like anything in general?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of every year we have a fall forum. So I had my first one. Usually they fly all the reps around the country out to New York. And when we're there, we like get to be at the Sony Music building, and we're like all the different labels. They have like representatives that speak with us and talk to us and just like put us onto some game. We did that over Zoom this year. It was last semester in November. But we learn a lot. We learn a lot about data, streaming. We learn a lot about the departments in music that people don't jump to be in. A lot of people jump to be in departments like A&R, marketing, but there's so much more. There's sales, there's streaming, there's sync licensing. There's a bunch of stuff that might sound boring, but you don't know if you maybe could fit into it that way and get into the industry that way. So we're definitely put on to a lot of game, and I'm very thankful for that because I went to a school, LMU, that does not have a music business major or minor or class, which makes me very, very, very upset, and I want to change that because a lot of other LA schools have it, and we focus on film a lot, which I get, but like I think we could do a lot with music. But yeah, it kind of gives me a music business major or like minor without actually going to a school like USC that has one.
Right, that's real dope. So, no, okay, sorry about that. So, say I was a young, say, college senior trying to look for internships, trying to look to get into like kind of get my first hand. What would you say would be the starting point for that?
Okay, when it comes to applying to internships, my secret is apply to a bunch. Apply to a bunch. Right now is your best time for internships because everything is virtual. If you go to a school like University of Michigan that's in Ann Arbor and you want to work in music, there are virtual internships right now. You literally can still be doing that. Usually, a lot of people who don't live in New York, Atlanta, LA, Miami, maybe Chicago, can't really do an industry internship if they want to be in like entertainment, for example, unless it's in the summer. Right now, it doesn't matter what industry you want to work in or where you are, you can do it. Literally, if you want good internships, I'd say each semester, apply to at least 10 of them. You're gonna probably get one of them or hear back from one of them. But like I say mass applying because like even I mass apply and maybe hear back from like one or two. Just because that's the way that it goes. So keep your resume updated, your LinkedIn updated, a portfolio. It's nice to have like a drewtownsend.com, like yourname.com. I'm setting mine up soon, actually. But yeah, it's just anything that makes you a little bit more professional in that space. And then be prepared to send all that stuff over. It's really not hard to apply if you have your stuff on standby in like a folder on your desktop or something. And then you just answer the few questions, you drop that resume and cover letter, and you're straight. It's not that bad. But like a lot of people are like, oh, why haven't I done anything? Like I'm like a stickler for like you really just get back what you put in. So.
Yeah, that sounds dope. So my next question, obviously for surprise I haven't touched on this, but in what ways has the pandemic even affected your work, Sony Music's work, the work on Intersect? How has that changed the music industry, period?
Yeah, for sure. So it's affected Sony Music U. I'll start by that because usually we're in person. So we're on campus at a table, handing out merch and doing in-person campaigns to interact with the students at our school or like interact with the students. For me, I could be at Pepperdine, USC, like just like all of the LA area. We're also going to concerts at least every other week in order to, get data for like, oh, who was there, who's in the audience. We ask the audience like what they think about Mulatto's show, this show, that show. So we're usually really like in the field basically, and it's turned completely digital. So I'm really excited because I've actually never even gotten the in-person experience. I'm sure it's a little bit more work, but I'm like very excited. I'd say that it's affected Intersect because I'm going back and forth right now between like home and LA. and other places, but like I don't live there yet. And I would say that when I actually live there and stuff is normal, I'll probably really just be like networking more and like more around people. So there'll probably be more content and even maybe more people working for Intersect. Like I just feel like I can grow it better if I'm in the field like that. But we've been doing pretty good digitally. Like Zoom is really helpful. We do a lot of Zoom interviews, and it's low-key sometimes even more convenient just to link up with someone that way. So yeah, it's affected it, but like not in like a terrible way. I feel like everything I'm a part of has done a great job adapting.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I guess I don't know. I kind of am a little bit curious because there's a lot of like huge artists signed to Sony Music. So have you even been able to meet with them or even like interact with them in some way?
I'd say that not as much in this digital space. Usually we get tickets to their concerts and usually get to go early and then go backstage and then maybe like meet some of them. But that hasn't been happening. So there's low-key been like no reason to meet with them. We meet with their team more. So like if anyone, it would be maybe who speaks to our management and then it comes to us. But yeah, I'd say I've like met the most people so far on my own through like Intersect or through like honestly just like regular social settings. But I'm excited because I'm sure that I will. Yeah.
And just speaking back to Intersect, and you talk about the type of artist and what do you do? What can you just name again? Like, how can we support you? What where can we find Intersect magazine? All of
Right.
that, so I can give that to our viewers and they can support.
Yeah. So our website is intersectmagazine.com. You can find all of our, online content right there. There's even a link to our YouTube channel, Intersect TV. You could also just go to YouTube and then type in Intersect TV. It would be great if you subscribed. And then you can find our podcast. If you search the Intersect podcast, even on Google, it'll probably link it. But excuse me, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I guess Amazon Podcasts is low-key called Audible, I think. But yeah, and you can also watch it on YouTube if you prefer to like see the faces. And then our Instagram is Intersect Magazine. A follow won't hurt.
Yeah, so that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming. Really dope, really dope. She just gave out her information, so go out and support Intersect Magazine. I guess you got okay. So Tayla has questions.
And so I apologize to everybody. We do have a little reverb going on and trying to figure out ins and outs of stay here, bring a chair. Come on. You ain't going nowhere. It's your spot. I just got some questions. So my first question is about, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that we minimize as much reverb as possible. So my first question is about the music industry as a whole. And so a lot of people, conspiracy of like, it's all demonic and it's the devil's music. Like, as far as parents are concerned, what would you say to parents that have children that, like, for instance, what's the little boy name that came out humping the devil?
Oh, Lil Nas X.
Yeah. So is there like, what about the music industry can parents do to like control or have some type of, what kind of conversations are being had about like making sure our children are protected, and how do we just govern ourselves accordingly when the man was humping the devil?
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah. So I would say that first, like speaking on behalf of like the industry side, there's like a lot of conspiracies about, Illuminati, this, that, da, 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 all this different type of stuff linked with the industry. But I'd say my thing with that is when it comes to any industry where you're dealing with almost people are the product. That sounds really bad, but like that's almost just like facts. Like people are the product, like you're making money off of that person's art. That's what makes people, you know what, think of it as like a slavery type of situation, because literally a label makes money off of a person instead of making money off of selling like this bottle. And so I think that's kind of, it's not like, oh, it's a conspiracy. I think that's just like, that's just facts. That's just what it is. And then unfortunately, there are a lot of asshole executives who treat people really badly. And I think that's when it comes up as like, you know, Michael Jackson, Prince, a lot of people have protested the industry and been like, fuck Sony Music, fuck this, fuck that. And then, you know, named even certain like, you know, executives and been like, this person is the devil. That's not the industry. It's just, that's a poor executive and you signed a contract with that executive giving your creative control away and they're treating you badly. So it's just fact. It's not even a conspiracy. And then I'd say when it comes to like creatives and the type of stuff that they put out and how a lot of times it might push the boundaries and not be appropriate for children, I do agree with when you see on like the Shade Room and it's like, just monitor like what your kids see. But I do know that it's hard. Like you're saying, like, it's just like, it's so easy. Like when I was a kid, I could find anything, like even if you put parent controls on. But I just say maybe just like my parents, they still played music with like terrible curse words and like all that old school rap when I was like younger. But I just think that like they spoke to me a certain way and just like had certain conversations about me like, okay, don't say this, don't say that. So I just knew that maybe I just couldn't say it, but like I did grow up on that type of hip hop. So I don't know, I guess maybe put parent controls on, but at the end of the day, like it's out there. And like at a certain age, it's almost up to the kid, because I feel like you really just can't control kids to a certain extent, if you know what I mean. I can't hear.
My mic sound nice? You can hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
That's a great Intersect. You know, I was being corny.
Oh, okay. No.
So as far as your parents are concerned, not really your upbringing, but you're a freshman doing senior type situations. Like you are in a space that most seniors are in, or even a junior, but you like, did you have a connection? Is nepotism real? Like, how did you find this space? And I know Julian already asked the question and you said like apply for everything. But how did your parents raise you to be this driven at such a young age? And not just driven, but you created your own magazine. Like this is the new generation of Word Up that we got going on.
Thank you. That means a lot that you recognize that, because, you know, it is hard to feel like you're, you know, actually making like any type of impact sometimes. But I think for me, I grew up in an athlete family. So my brother plays like D1 college basketball. My dad played D1 college football, uncle in the NFL, cousin plays for Notre Dame football. Like it's just athletes all around. And I was an athlete, but I just was injured for like 3 years in a row and just had to keep pushing because I wanted to go play D1 so badly. And it was just like my only thing. That type of training and mindset, like when I was younger, my dad didn't let me say the word can't. Like I couldn't say that. Like he'd be like, what? Like even if it was in like a goofy standpoint, like it's just a certain type of mindset of like, you can do anything. And like when your parents really put that into your mind, I think it like resonates really well. I don't have any, I have connections in law. I have connections in finance. I don't have any connections in entertainment. So I did kind of have to figure that out by myself. What really allowed me to be in certain positions at this young age is Intersect, because I think companies really like when they see that you did something entrepreneurial. That's why like I tell everyone like, okay, like find the way that you can, like, even if like, of course, me at the end of my junior year of high school couldn't really get internships at a major record label or a major music publication or something like that. So create your own until you can. Like that was almost my mindset. It was like create my own, push it as far as I can go till I can work at other places. And then I want to work at other places and then still have my baby that I own, I can receive profit from no matter what happens, like multiple streams of revenue. Yeah, I think that my mind like works like this because like I think I've been through a lot at a younger age, so it matured me to a certain extent, and I want a lot for myself. So I feel like it's just really like inside of you. Like I think with like entrepreneurship, it's like you got it or you don't. But I feel like if you don't approach it the way that like I approach it, it's like almost like you're doing it for no reason because it's just so tough, and there's just days where you feel like you want to stop. So yeah, that's kind of how my mind works.
So today was Julian's interview, but I did a little feedback, and I see that you are in finance.
Yes, I'm a finance major.
A little bit about finance and how it intersects. I'm just puns intended, puns around the board. So just explain to us like how, because finance is completely different from music, even though a lot of these rappers and artists end up getting a whole lot of money and then go broke at some point in time because of the lifestyle that they attempted to keep up with. So I wonder where they go on, Julian. What's the word?
So basically, I chose finance because I wanted to major in business. My school does not have a music business program, and I want to be on the business side of the industry. Something that I always just like explain to people, like when I was telling certain like family members, oh, I want to work in music, they'd be like, huh? Because it just didn't seem traditional. Frankly, the business side of music is still like working in corporate America. Like if you work for Sony Music, like it's low-key the same as working for like AT&T. It's just your product is music. And so like there's a whole huge finance department, sales department, business and legal, like royalties, all that deals with money. So I figured that's kind of like my closest major. LMU has a really good entertainment finance professor and like a group of classes. So I figured that's kind of the closest to where I can get that type of experience. And then say if something doesn't work well in the industry, but like I'm sure that I'll be fine. Like I can always bounce back on like an industry that will be there no matter what happens, no matter how COVID will take it out. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some industries that will still be there. Medicine, law, finance. Yeah. So that's kind of why I chose that. And then understanding money can just help in general. Like you said, like I could, be the business manager for an artist. They need someone to manage their money because a lot of them are stupid, but yeah.
So in my head, what it looks like is like, what's the, Hard Rock, what's the Rock's real name? Not Steve Austin, Dwayne Johnson, the TV show with Dwayne Johnson, and he's like the financial manager for all of the football players. And like definitely there's a niche there, and I don't know why I have not seen anyone have that mindset, not only towards like our athletes, but artists, and like everywhere that Black people go, and we be effing everything. Like, what am I trying to say? Like, we think we're supposed to bust out everything, buy out the bottles, buy out the club. Like, we don't have to do all that. They're not stupid. They're just uneducated. Somebody need to educate them.
There we go. And then the people who are behind in those positions are usually white people because they aren't trying. They know that the money is actually in the people who own the teams in sports or people who are, on the business side of music. And then they're just making money off of, our stuff, Black culture, this, that, and the other. So I figured I wanted to be in the position like that. Cause yeah, like you said, and then even like what I've noticed is like in the business side of like music, there's like a few positions that a lot of like Black people are more so drawn to. And that's like A&R, marketing, brand partnerships, stuff where they can be on the forefront, taking pictures with the artist. Like, hey, I work with this artist. I'm close to this artist. I'm cool with being in the background and, making the big bucks. I'm cool. I ain't got to be posted up on Instagram like, oh, hi. But like, sometimes I feel like my people do a lot just based off of like what looks good sometimes instead of thinking about the long run. But yeah, that's just knowledge though, like what you know and like what experience you have.
Well, I took a look at your Instagram. And you is fine, boo. You came out here with pants, ponytail with no makeup on. I think the real picture of you.
Thank you.
fine. And so I say all that to say, Black, beautiful, young, intelligent, getting it. I'm so proud of you, Julian. I'm so proud of you because this was all him.
Yes.
Out, setting it up from beginning to end. This was all him. I just slid in to ask a couple questions. And so, do you have any? I'm going to back all the way up and let him wrap this up, so we can go ahead and end on time. But I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace and blessings to every endeavor because camp is not a word. It's just how we gonna make it work. And so,
Right.
I love everything about you, and I look forward
Thank
to
you.
up on the WhatsApp and the Bebox, and I love the fact that it's coming back because I think I don't remember when it was, but they stopped doing like the centerfolds of like the big posters, the 4-page posters that end
Yeah,
up
I know.
big
Mhm.
posters. They stopped doing that, and I know like these kids don't have no wherewithal about putting up posters in your room, putting up artists in your room. So
Only people I know who do that are like the music
I
nerds.
know somebody want a Little Nas X on their wall. It ain't me, but somebody do.
But thank you so much for having me.
That means you have to say the
Yeah.
outro too, Jules. Waking up with Tayla Andre.
Okay. Well, thank you to Drew Townsend for coming. That was a great insight into the music industry. Love everything you do. Make sure you guys go and support Intersect Magazine. I put the link in the comments for you guys. But other than that, waking up with Tayla Andre Monday through Fridays, 11 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. Waking up with Tayla Andre is not about the time you wake up, but waking up your third eye with with universal consciousness. Other than that, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for listening. And that's the wrap.
Thank you guys.
I don't
See
know.
ya.
Hold on, I'm gonna talk to her offline. So we're gonna end this.
Okay.
I'm so proud, Jules.